September the 8th, 2024, 6:47 a.m. Marcus Webb stands in his father's workshop holding a rusted carburetor from a 1952 John Deere Model 60, the farm. 287 acres his grandfather cleared in 1948 goes to auction in 11 hours. Every piece of equipment is tagged, every field mapped for subdivision. Marcus has $340,000 in debt. The winning bid needs to hit $890,000, or the bank takes everything. But Marcus isn't thinking about the auction. He's thinking about 3 words his father said to him in 1994 when Marcus was 12 years old. Fix it, don't replace it. Those words are about to cost him everything he owns. Here's what you need to understand. This isn't a story about a farm foreclosure. Those happen every day. This is about how a father's philosophy, repeated for 30 years, became the exact reason his son lost everything, and why 400 people showed up to an auction nobody thought mattered. Marcus's father, Thomas Webb, bought his first tractor in 1976, a used Farmall M with a cracked engine block. Every mechanic in Cherokee County said the same thing. Scrap it. Buy something that runs. Thomas didn't listen. He spent 6 months teaching himself to weld cast iron. He fixed the block. The tractor ran for 34 years. Thomas rebuilt it 4 times, never replaced it. When Marcus turned 12, Thomas handed him a wrench and said, "This is how we do things. Fix it. Don't replace it. The moment you start throwing away what can be repaired, you lose respect for what you own." Marcus believed him, completely, religiously, for 30 years. The problems started in 2019. Marcus's main combine, a 1998 Case IH2388, threw a rotor bearing during wheat harvest. The part cost $890, a rebuilt replacement rotor. Assembly cost $4,200. A newer used combine cost $85,000. Marcus heard his father's voice. Fix it, don't replace it. He ordered the bearing, installed it himself, saved $332. He felt proud. His father would have been proud. Thomas died in 2016, but Marcus still heard his voice in every decision. 2020, the grain truck's transmission failed. Repair, $2,800. Replacement truck, $34,000. Marcus repaired it. Took him 4 weekends, saved $31,200, 2021. The pivot irrigation system's gearbox seized. Repair parts, $150. New pivot system, $67,000. Marcus fabricated custom parts. Saved $65,050. You see the pattern. Marcus was doing exactly what his father taught him. He was winning every battle. He was losing the war. Here's what Marcus didn't understand. What his father never explained because Thomas farmed in a different era. Thomas Webb farmed from 1976 to 2016, 40 years. Commodity prices during Thomas's peak years, 1995 to 2010, averaged $4.80 per bushel for corn, $8.90 for wheat. Land values stayed relatively stable. Equipment aged slowly. A 1976 tractor could compete with a 1996 tractor because the technology gap was narrow. Fixing made sense. The mathematics supported it. Marcus farmed. From 2014 to 2024, 10 years. Commodity prices averaged $3.60 per bushel for corn, $5.40 for wheat. Land values doubled, then crashed. Equipment technology exploded. A 1998 combine versus a 2018 combine. Different universes. The 2018 model harvested 40% faster, wasted 15% less grain, required 60% less fuel per acre. Marcus's carefully repaired 1998 combine cost him $14,000 per harvest and lost efficiency compared to his neighbor's newer equipment. But Marcus kept fixing. Because that's what his father taught him. Fix it, don't replace it. The breaking point came in March 2023. Marcus's main tractor, a 2003 John Deere 8520, time 400 metas, Developed a transmission problem. The dealer's diagnosis, complete transmission failure. Repair cost, $47,000. Used replacement tractor, $89,000. New tractor with financing, $340,000. Marcus made the choice his father would have made. He spent $47,000 repairing the transmission. He depleted his operating capital. He felt virtuous doing it. 63 days later, the repaired transmission failed again. Different component. Another $28,000 in the fix. Marcus didn't have $28,000. He took a bridge loan at 9.8% interest. Fixed it again. The tractor ran for 4 months. Then the hydraulic system catastrophically failed. Repair estimate, $31,000. Marcus finally broke. Time, 500 ms. He couldn't fix it again, but he also couldn't afford to replace it. He was trapped. He had spent $75,000 repairing a tractor now worth $42,000. If he'd replaced it in March 2023, he'd have had a reliable machine. Instead, he had $75,000 in debt and a broken tractor. The mathematics of farming changed while Marcus followed his father's philosophy. In Thomas's era, repairing was always cheaper than replacing. In Marcus's era, repairing was often more expensive. When you factored in downtime, lost efficiency, repeated failures, and opportunity cost. Marcus's neighbor, Robert Chen, farmed 310 acres. Similar size. Operation. Chen bought new equipment every 8 years. Financed everything. Marcus thought Chen was foolish, drowning in debt, violating every principle Thomas had taught. But Chen's equipment never failed during critical harvest windows. Chen's combines harvested 35% faster. Chen's fuel costs per acre were 40% lower. Chen's maintenance costs were minimal. Everything under warranty. Over 10 years, Marcus spent $340,000 on repairs and maintenance. Chen spent $425,000 on equipment payments. But Chen's efficiency gains generated an additional $890,000 in revenue over that same decade. Chen's operation was growing. Marcus's was dying. Both men were following their father's advice. Chen's father had told him, "The newest equipment earns more money than it costs." Marcus's father had told him, "Fix it, don't replace it." Both philosophies were correct, in their respective eras. Thomas Webb's philosophy worked perfectly from 1976 to 2016. Marcus Webb's adherence to it from 2014 to 2024 destroyed him. By September 2024, Marcus owed $340,000. Equipment loans, bridge loans, operating loans. The farm's total value, land, equipment, inventory, was assessed at $890,000. The bank offered him a choice: sell voluntarily and walk away with potentially $200,000 after debts, or face foreclosure and bankruptcy. Marcus chose the auction. September 8, 2024. The auction started at 9 a.m. Marcus expected maybe 40 people, local farmers looking for cheap equipment. Instead, 400 people showed up. They came from 6 states. They weren't there for the equipment. They were there for Marcus. Here's what Marcus didn't know. His story had spread, not as a cautionary tale, as a symbol. In farming communities across the Midwest, Marcus Webb had become famous. The last farmer still fixing everything himself, still following the old ways, still believing in repair over replacement. Farmers in their 60s and 70s saw Marcus as the final practitioner of their generation's values. Younger farmers saw him as a tragic figure, destroyed by outdated philosophy. The auction started with equipment. The broken John Deere 8520, the tractor that started the cascade, sold for $38,000. Below book value, expected. The Case IH combined sold for $44,000. Also below value. Then something unexpected happened. The 1952 John Deere Model 60, the tractor Marcus's grandfather bought in 1953. The tractor Thomas had rebuilt 4 times, the tractor Marcus had maintained obsessively for 30 years, came up for bid. Starting price, $3,000. Time, 450 mountains. First bid, $8,000, then $12,000, then $18,000. Bidding war between 2 men in their 70s. Final price, $47,000, for a 72-year-old tractor worth maybe $8,000. The buyer, a farmer named William Morrison from Nebraska, explained to the auctioneer, "Marcus Webb kept that machine alive longer than most farmers keep themselves alive. That tractor represents something we're losing. I'm not buying a tractor. I'm buying a principle." It kept happening. Marcus's repaired equipment, the pieces he'd spent decades maintaining, time 400 mowing sold for premiums, not despite their age and repairs, because of them. Collectors, historians, and old guard farmers bid against each other for machines that represented a dying philosophy. The total auction proceeds, $680,000, combined with land value, $890,000. Exactly the break-even number. Marcus paid off every debt. He walked away with $23,000, not enough to buy another farm, enough to start over somewhere else. But here's the final twist. 3 weeks after the auction, Marcus received a letter from William Morrison, the man who bought the 1952 Model 60 for $47,000. Inside, a job offer. Morrison owned a 1,200-acre operation in Nebraska. He needed a master mechanic. Time, 300 men who understood vintage equipment. Starting salary, $78,000 per year, plus housing, plus equity participation after 5 years. Morrison's letter explained, "I have 12 tractors from the 1950s and 60s. I have 3 combines from the 1970s. I keep them running for parades, demonstrations, educational events. I need someone who knows how to fix equipment the old way. Your father taught you a skill that's becoming extinct. That skill has value. Level, moderate, just not in modern commercial farming. Come work for me. Teach young farmers how equipment used to be maintained. Help me preserve these machines. Your father's philosophy wasn't wrong. You were just applying it in the wrong context." Marcus accepted. He's been in Nebraska for 3 months. He spends his days rebuilding carburetors, fabricating obsolete parts, teaching farm kids how to adjust governors and gap spark plugs. He makes more money than he ever made farming. He's happier than he's been in years. His father's 3 words, "Fix it, don't replace it," destroyed Marcus's farm. But they also gave him a skill set so rare that someone would pay premium salary for it. Thomas Webb's philosophy was perfect for 1976 to 2016, catastrophic for 2014 to 2024, valuable again in 2024, but in a completely different context. The lesson isn't that Thomas was wrong. The lesson isn't that Marcus was wrong. The lesson is that wisdom has an expiration date. What works in one era destroys you in another. Your father's best advice can become your greatest liability, not because the advice was bad, but because the world changed. Marcus Webb lost his farm following his father's philosophy. He found his future because of it. Sometimes you have to lose everything built on old wisdom to discover where that wisdom still applies.